Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our latest HubSpot training webinar. It's Matt here, and I'm joined by Emma Clark, one of our HubSpot senior HubSpot account managers here at the B2B Marketing Lab, who's going to be running through how to build and post a blog in the HubSpot marketing tool. As I mentioned, this is me. My name's Matt. I'm head of group marketing here at the B2B Marketing Lab, and I've been with the company for nearly 5 years now. But just a couple of bits before we get started. I just wanted to flag that we are running a HubSpot user group a week from today, Wednesday the 28th of November, in Shoreditch in London, which is for a free to attend event for anyone interested in HubSpot or inbound marketing. You don't necessarily have to be a HubSpot user. But if you want to sign up for free tickets, you can just visit our website and do that. The second part is just something related to the webinar content from today. We put a blog live last week on our website around the benefits of repurposing content, which I will urge and direct you to read. If you take a look, it basically looks at a blog that we posted back in January 2017 and some work that we've done on it. Which you guys can definitely do on your blogs, which is essentially repurposing, bringing up to date, and republishing the blog, and it has some really good results and really good feedback, especially in terms of organic traffic and stuff like that. So I will ping round the link to that blog at the end of the webinar with the recording as well for you. But I will leave that for now and pass over to Emma, who's going to run through exactly how to post blogs in the HubSpot tool.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. Fab. So, today we're going to be working through how to build and post a blog in HubSpot. Just as a quick intro, so blogging in general is a really great way to improve the domain authority of your website, and it helps you to rank for particular search terms as well. That in turn attracts new leads to your website and can delight your customers. It also helps to position your organisation or business as a thought leader in the industry too. So yeah, we really recommend regular blogging activity for your business. Using HubSpot will allow you to draft and publish your blog posts. You can also share them via social media as well, straight from HubSpot. And you can also set up via the settings automatic blog updates for people who want to subscribe to your blog. And as with all HubSpot tools, your kind of analytics and metrics are all inbuilt. And so are the optimization tools as well, just to make sure that your blog stands the best possible chance of ranking. So in today's webinar, we'll cover blogging best practice, using the HubSpot blogging tool, using CTAs and links within your blog. We'll have a little dive into the blog analytics as well. We'll run through a quick live demo, and then just some key takeaways and tips as well. And if you have any kind of questions throughout, there will be a question and answer session at the end as well. Awesome. So let's get started with some blogging best practices. So with blogging in general, it's really key to make sure that your content is relevant to one of the personas that you're targeting. So just making sure that you're kind of looking through the personas that you have, and just double checking, via their goals, pain points, those kind of sections of your buyer persona documents. Is your blog topic relevant to this persona, and is it actually going to target any of their kind of pain points or key goals? How are you going to kind of hook them in? It's also worth looking as well at where in the buyer journey your blog is positioned, just so you can make sure that you've got an even amount of kind of awareness level blog content and consideration stage blog content as well, just to make sure that your tone of voice within the blog is kind of correct to that buyer journey stage, but also just making sure that your structure of the blog as well is kind of structured to be, if it's awareness, a very high level piece, if it's more consideration stage, maybe some comparisons in there as well. So always make sure you consider your buyer journey stage. And it's also as well one thing that we always stress when we're doing our own blogging activity within the company is doing your keyword research first. It's really important to make sure that you're doing your keyword research first to make sure that your topic is being searched for. Or if it isn't being searched for, there is a volume there that you maybe could see kind of grow over time. We'd always recommend as well identifying and using longer tail keywords for blogs, just because you can then longer tail keywords can be kind of question based, and your blog as well can kind of answer those questions that your buyer personas are asking. If you can be found for those search terms, then you're more likely to rank highly in your search engine results pages. It's also worth from the outset as well thinking about where you can add internal and external links to other blogs, web pages of your own website, but also if you're using stats or anything that needs to be qualified, making sure you have kind of external links to where you found that particular statistic. So that could be, a news article if it's something topical. It could also be maybe if it's a HubSpot statistic, a HubSpot blog. And also just making sure that you keep your title short and snappy. It can be something to revisit at the end once you've kind of got the main structure of your blog in place, but just making sure that it's under 70 characters or 60 pixels, just to make sure it's not truncated within kind of Google's Google's search results. Because if your title is too long, it will be truncated, and people won't necessarily be able to see the main part of your blog topic if you've left it at the end of your blog title. So a little bit more about keywords. Obviously, we've mentioned do your keyword research first, but it's also worth just making sure if you're using topic clusters or pillar pages, just making sure that it relates to any topic clusters that you're currently working on. As you think kind of about your blogging strategy in general, you can sometimes think outside of keywords and think about the overarching topics that are then relevant to your audience. The reason behind this is that people are actually more comfortable now with entering more complex questions into search engines, and they expect the search engines to give them an accurate answer or a search result. So search engines have now kind of evolved to understand the topical context behind a searcher's intent. So your keyword is like a fragment of that search. Just a word or phrase to describe what someone needs. So whether that's writing skills, blog post topics, that sort of thing. But your main topic that will form the center of your topic cluster would cover all of those keywords. So that might be something like content marketing. So if you figure out what kind of topics you want to be known for, it means that you can start brainstorming the types of questions that your target audience might want to ask or might want to know more about. And then you can start writing blog posts that answer some of their questions. For example, how to build a blog in HubSpot. It could be related to a core topic of maybe HubSpot setup. So as you create more and more blog topics that answer these kind of questions, you can link them to one another to make it easier for search engines to understand how your posts fit together. And that's where the kind of pillar page concept comes in, because you've got that central topic of, say, HubSpot setup. And then you've got lots of links from the pillar page to the blogs that are all about HubSpot setup, and then links from the blogs to the main pillar page of HubSpot setup. So it's just something worth bearing in mind as you're developing your content strategy. And as well, just making sure that you use relevant long tail keywords in your blog posts as well. And if you are using keywords, and you can see if you do kind of a Google search to see what's out there already, if you see that there's a lot of blog posts or content already out there, and just have a think about maybe how you can make that blog stand out from the rest of the content that's already there. For example, if someone has written a blog on how to post a blog in HubSpot or how to write a blog, then you could make your blog a little bit more specific. Say 10 top tips for writing a successful blog that generates leads, giving it a little bit more context and also making it a little bit more inviting for someone who's viewing that search engine page. Awesome. So in terms of display best practices, there are some examples here that you can see. So we'll run through in a little bit more detail. So display best practices, such as subheaders, also using imagery to break up the text as well, and also including CTAs within your content. And we'll go into CTAs in a little bit more detail shortly. Fab. So, always with blogs, we would always recommend adding imagery, whether that's kind of at the beginning of the blog to kind of set the scene, or throughout the blog to kind of illustrate any points that you're making, particularly with blogs that focus around great examples of HubSpot websites. Having screenshots there just makes it a lot more inviting, but also breaks up the text. One thing we would say though is just beware of the sizing of the images that you're using. Try and compress them just so they're no more than 150 kilobytes. Over time, as you're creating lots and lots and lots of blog posts, if you're using a lot of imagery that's very kind of high res, really large files, it can impact kind of the load speed of your blog and website. So just having a think before you upload and use imagery in HubSpot, just have a look at the size and see if it's sort of around the 150 kilobytes mark. And also, as blogs can be they can either be quite short or they can be quite long, just making sure that you're breaking up the text with headers, bullet points and CTAs. It just makes the blog a little bit easier on the eye, and people can take a look at the bullet points and find those key takeaways if they're not, or rather if they don't have time to read the entire blog. Just remember that white space is your friend, and don't overcrowd your page. And there's also the opportunity, as we mentioned, to add CTAs. You can add call to actions to the blog sidebar to promote other pieces of content, or to promote even your blog. You could have an RSS feed, for example, to the side of the blog so that people can link to other related blog topics. You can also add CTAs to subscribe to the blog as well. It's just worth double checking that this is if it's in your website template already. A lot of HubSpot templates do include the subscribe CTAs. So going into HubSpot's blogging tools, you can see that they're intuitive and they're user-friendly. I think we've been through kind of in previous webinars how to create a landing page, that sort of thing. They're well worth going to have a look at again. But a lot of the tools do follow this kind of format, so really easy to kind of click and edit your copy. You can see at the top there, you've got a sort of editor bar that's really easy to use as well. So from there, you can add any kind of videos you want to embed, any CTAs, any read more separators, which we'll come on to in a little while. And just edit your text as you would normally. In the settings as well, this is where you can kind of add your title with your keyword that you've chosen, your blog URL that also needs to include your keyword. You can also add the author. If you've got several people who are contributing to the content strategy within your company, you can have several authors, and any tags you want to use as well. So if you have your blog template set up so that it filters by topic, this is where you would set the topics that every blog is about. So make sure that your blogs are appearing under the right filters in the blog listing page. You can also add the meta description here as well, and that also needs to include the keyword that you've chosen for this particular blog. You can also optimize your blog as well. HubSpot has some really great inbuilt optimization tools. So where you've got kind of the little optimize graph, you can see that you can actually add your content. So you can attach it to your core topic, which goes back to our content clusters and pillar pages. So if you have a core topic already as part of your content strategy and you know this blog will link to it, you can attach it to the core topic within your optimize bar, and then you can add it as a supporting page and select the keyword. And once you're ready, it's always worth just having a check before you publish of the optimization bar. There's HubSpot uses kind of a traffic light system, so it's good to see that everything is green before you hit publish. And if anything is in amber, just going back and double checking if there's anything that you can edit to optimize the blog further. So as we mentioned, adding your keywords. So So once you've selected your long tail keyword for the blog, it's just making sure it's included in the blog title, your meta description, the URL of the blog as well, but also just making sure that it's distributed naturally throughout your blog copy. So you can use the long tail keyword, but also kind of natural derivations of that keyword as well are absolutely fine to use. It's just making sure that you're not using it kind of more than 2 or 3 times per, say, 300 words. It's just making sure it's being used naturally and it's not being kind of shoehorned in there. Always have it within your blog copy as well. And try and incorporate your keyword into some of the subheaders that you're using to break up the text as well, just because you'll be using kind of H2 headers there. And if you've got any image alt text, so if you're using any images, make sure that you kind of edit that image alt text so that it does include the keyword in some way, just to help optimize the blog. Great. So moving on to CTAs and links and using those within your blog as well. There are lots of types of CTAs that you can use within your blog. So the most common way is to add an image CTA at the end of your blog that links to a downloadable asset. And another way as well is using kind of a text-based CTA within the main body of your blog so that links to relevant content. And the reason why we recommend having a text-based CTA as well is that if you've got a particularly long blog as well, and if someone isn't willing to kind of scroll to the end, there isn't kind of an opportunity there for you to kind of try and convert them to another asset. So by having a text-based CTA towards the top of your blog, if someone say wants to find out more about your topic, then they don't have to scroll to the bottom. You just have a CTA there that they can link straight through to, say, a downloadable asset like an ebook or a white paper. It just means that you're kind of optimizing your blog as much as you can to try and get people to move through onto a landing page. Your text-based CTAs, in terms of where they're positioned, just trying to find sort of somewhere towards the beginning of your blog that is a natural break before maybe you hit into a bullet point list or a number of subheaders. Just trying to find that natural break so that you can add your text-based CTA, but also making sure that it links to the paragraph above quite naturally. So say the example we've got here is learn more about our HubSpot onboarding packages now. And then also finally you have internal links. So as we mentioned, your internal links can link to other web pages, other blogs, anywhere that it's relevant, but just make sure that they open in a new tab. There's an option that HubSpot gives you when you do create hyperlinks. So with blogs, we would always recommend that you get internal links or even external links just to open in a new tab, so that people aren't distracted away from your blog. And potentially, if you're using external links then away from your website, you want to keep people on your website so that they can explore the rest of your content and resources. So once you've built your blog in HubSpot, there are a number of final checks that you can do just to make sure that everything is as kind of optimized as possible before you hit schedule or publish now. And so the first thing is just giving that blog a final proofread for any spelling, spacing, or grammar errors. I think sometimes you'd be surprised at what can come through, and just make sure that especially when you're kind of copying and pasting something from a Word document, just making sure that there isn't any kind of rogue spacing errors as well, and just making sure the formatting is consistent throughout the blog. So if you're using kind of a list, just making sure that spacing between list items is consistent. And also just give the blog a kind of check in terms of how it displays on mobile. And the HubSpot preview section lets you preview your blog by device type. So whether that's desktop, tablet, or mobile, you'll be able to preview your blog before it goes live. And if any further optimization needs to be done for mobile, you've got that opportunity as well. It's also worth just double checking that you selected a featured image for your blog. Your featured image is what will pull through on your blog listing page if your blog listing page includes an image module. So it's just making sure that you do have that image enabled, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail in the live demo shortly. As we mentioned, it's always worth checking the HubSpot optimization bars for any kind of errors or anything that's in amber that has been flagged. And also just ensure that your HubSpot subscription emails have been set up and customized correctly. But we'll go on to subscription emails shortly as well. Great, so if we have a quick look at a blog I made earlier. This is a blog that it is live, it's just one I've cloned so that we can have a look through and customize. So as you can see, this is about where you should place HubSpot CTAs on your website. And you can see that this blog uses an image at the top, but it also uses CTAs throughout. It has a bullet pointed list, a number of images just to break up the text, but also because this blog is kind of focused around the technical side of HubSpot, it was one of those things, it just makes it a little bit easier to implement the tips by having those images included. So as you can see, this is quite a long blog, and at the end it does have a CTA to our lovely webinar series. So you can see as well that there, within the template, we do have comments enabled too, so people can enable comments. So if we go to edit post, I'll just show you behind the scenes here. Sorry, my laptop is thinking about it. There we are. Great. So as you can see here, your title is really easy to edit. And then if you click into the main body here, you can see here, this is where your read more separator is included. So if I just get rid of that and just show you how we added that in. So in your HubSpot toolbar here, you have your read more separator, so you just include it there. And that read more separator is then your break. So when you're using your blog subscription emails, everything up into the read more break is pulled through and included as part of your blog subscription email. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail, but it's just so you know why that's there and how you should be using it. So as we just mentioned, there's a image CTA right at the bottom of this blog. But one thing that this blog doesn't have is a text-based CTA. So I think probably around here is a really nice natural break to add a text-based CTA. I created one earlier. So if we go to insert call to action, this text-based CTA is not included earlier. So here is a really natural break. So you can say, looking for more advice on CTAs and how to use the HubSpot tools, click here to learn more about our classroom training sessions. So yeah, that's how we would add kind of a text-based CTA just to the top of the blog to try and encourage people to click through and find out more about our classroom training sessions without having to wait for them to scroll right to the end of the blog, particularly if they don't have time to read all of the blog. There are kind of links and things to other pieces of content for landing pages so they can further explore our website. Great, so if we click through to the settings, I'll just show you what's happening here as well. So we've got our blog title, we've got our blog URL as well. Author, we can change this to me from HubSpot sample user. And the tags we can also set as well. So this would be HubSpot marketing and inbound marketing. And if you need to add any new tags as well, you can simply add a tag there if you've got a new topic that you want to have as a filterable topic on your blog template. You've also got a meta description as well. You can add a campaign if this blog is promoting a particular ebook. And here is where you set your featured image. So HubSpot will automatically pull through all of the imagery that you use within your blog. So you can change the featured image just by clicking it here. If you want to add a new featured image, all you need to do is either hit upload to upload a new image straight from your desktop or Google Drive, or if you hit browse images, that will open the HubSpot image library. As you can see, we've been working on some Christmas stuff. Great. And then just having a look in the optimization bar here. This is, as you can see, where we've got everything that the blog is doing correctly just before we hit live. And we've got a couple of actions here to add all text to images and also to shorten the title. I think that's probably because I put it was my webinar example right at the end. But the main thing I wanted to show you here was attaching the core topic. So here, if we wanted to attach it to HubSpot Setup, we can select it as a supporting page, and then we can select a subtopic. So here are the subtopics that we've already created content for. However, if you wanted to add a new content topic, you just need to go through to your content strategy tool and add the keyword there. If you hit refresh on this blog page, it will then appear in this list and you can attach it. And then in terms of previewing, here we've got the ability to preview on mobile. There we go, it's just things we mount it. You can see how it all renders. And you also have your shareable preview link that you can send to any colleagues if you want a sort of a fresh pair of eyes to give it a quick proofread before it goes live. And then once you're happy with everything on your blog and you're ready to publish it, you can either publish now or schedule your post for later. One of the things as well that's worth pausing here to have a quick chat about is Google AMP, Accelerated Mobile Pages. We would recommend switching on this option for your portal if you can. So Accelerated Mobile Pages enables content to load nearly instantly on mobile just by removing JavaScript from the page. So it just prioritizes the text-based content within your page, and then it loads the additional content afterwards. So what that means, and the biggest benefit of this, is just improving the user experience. So when people on mobile are searching for the information they're looking for, it means if it appears more quickly, they're less likely to navigate away from a website. Fab. So yes, that was everything on the HubSpot demo. If I just go back to my presentation. Great. So let's get into the HubSpot blog subscription setup. It's always worth just double checking your settings that your blog subscription updates are activated. But one thing that we would always recommend as well is just having a look at the blog subscription email and customizing it, just so you have a better user experience. So here within the settings, you can see we've got the HubSpot settings open with the instant, daily, weekly, and monthly notifications, and you can set which ones you'd like to have on. It depends ultimately on how often you're blogging, really. If you're doing fortnightly blogging, then monthly notifications are probably the best thing to go for. But if you're doing maybe 1 to 2 posts per week, then weekly notifications is great as well. And then once you've selected the email that you'd like to, the frequency that you'd like, you can also, straight from settings, edit the email as well. So you can select the from name and the address. You can also select the option to create your own custom subject line. But if not, then your email template is set up so that the most recent blog title is pulled through to that email title for you. And then if you have the show summaries option selected in your email settings, it just means that your blog subscription settings will just pull through the main body of the blog right up until your read more tag. So if you can see in the example there, you've got your title, your image, and then you have a small preview up to the read more separator. And then in the modules option of your email editor, which you can see here, under main email body, you can just double check how your blog email is going to display each blog within the list. So you can have the option to just have text, and you can have a summary that just pulls through your featured image that we just ran through, and you can also have the full post, but just bear in mind that would be potentially quite a long email. And also, just coming back to images and your featured image, just watch the sizing of your images that you're using in blog subscription emails. You just need to make sure that, so when you upload an image to your file manager, if you upload an image that's, say, 1,000 pixels wide, just bear in mind that will pull through to your email as 1,000 pixels wide. Some email providers, such as Outlook, will strip out the styling that you apply to your blog after you've uploaded an image. So it's just worth bearing that in mind and just double checking how your images are rendering within your blog email template as well. So if we move on to then the blog analytics, we'll just run through some of the analytics that you can find. So within your HubSpot blog dashboard, you can keep track of your subscribers. You can look through the most recent posts and the top posts by views as well. And you can dig into the top posts by views by filtering by the month, author, and tags. If you're particularly interested in, which person in your company is writing the most engaging blogs, or which topics are most popular with your audience as well. And you can also see the number of CTA clicks that your blogs are generating if you're using the banner CTAs at the end of your blog or a text CTA towards the top. And also you can see the number of conversions as well. So the number of conversions just means where your blog was the first touch point for someone becoming a customer. You can also identify how well individual blogs are doing as well. So if there's a particular blog you'd like to dig into, you can set timeframes to see the number of views over a month, a quarter, or custom dates. Custom dates is quite useful if you've been doing some event promotion over a specific period of time. So you can see the number of page views and the time that someone has spent reading that individual blog. And you can also see the sources. So the number of views, submissions, and new contacts, you can see where those people came from and drill down a little bit more. So you can find out if it says social media, whether that came from Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn, any email activity you've been doing to promote the blog, and any referrals as well. So if your blog has been mentioned on another website, it will pull through from there. Great. So moving on to key takeaways. So just to summarise, it's always important to do your keyword research first before you start drafting your blog, just to make sure you're identifying a long tail keyword that potentially fits into any topic cluster or pillar page work that you're doing. Using relevant CTAs throughout your blogs, so the image CTA at the bottom of the blog, and also a text-based CTA towards the top. Just making sure that any internal or external links you use are set to open a new tab, to make sure that people aren't navigating away from your blog or potentially your website and still have that opportunity to explore other blogs or other areas of your site. Making sure you set your featured image just so that pulls through on any email subscription, any blog subscription emails that you send out. And also just making sure that it pulls through on your blog listing page too. Just double check before you publish the HubSpot optimization bar to see if there's anything that can be tweaked, just to make sure that it's got the best chance of ranking and the best user experience too. Give your blog a proofread, and you can also use the preview link that HubSpot provides to send it to any colleagues for a fresh pair of eyes. Also within the preview section, you can check the display on mobile or tablet. And then just making sure as well that you set up your subscription emails so that anyone who subscribes to the blog receives an an email on a weekly or monthly basis with the latest roundup of the blogs that you've drafted. Great. So I think that's everything. Do we have any questions, Matt?
Yes, one question for you, Emma.
All right.
And this might not have a right or a wrong answer, but let's fire it at you anyway. So obviously we've looked at how to build blogs in HubSpot, how to keyword optimize them, etc.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice in terms of how long a blog should be? So I think it's quite well known that blogs can be anything from sort of maybe 300 words as a minimum for Google to fully understand what the blog is about and be able to rank it up to, I'm going to say anything up to sort of 1,500 to 2,000 words.
Yeah.
Well, I guess like working with your clients, do you have any advice on how long that blog should be?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it really depends on the topic. So we do have clients that are very knowledgeable on certain topics, and therefore a more detailed blog that is, say, around 800 words is, something that we would draft just to make sure that we're covering all of the points in enough depth, but also leaving prospects to find out a little bit more by downloading other pieces of content. I'd say a really good kind of average blog length is probably about 500 words, just to make sure that you're covering the topic well. But if you have a lot more kind of detail that you want to use or things you want to say, then probably about 800 words for a longer blog, something like that.
Perfect. Well, we'll leave it there. I'm just clicking next.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know, we have HubSpot training, classroom training taking place in our offices in central London in December. We have also put our dates up for the new year on our website, so you can check them out on b2bml.com. Any questions whatsoever, you can feel free to drop me an email, or you can contact via letter, whose email address is on the slide at the moment, who heads up all of our HubSpot training inquiries. And lastly, just some information on our next webinar taking place in 2 weeks' time on Wednesday, the 5th of December. I'll be joined by one of our account directors, Jessica Gamble, to look at exactly how to build lead management workflows in HubSpot. So it's more looking at the internal management of prospects. So what happens when someone comes in as a lead, and exactly how you manage that lead in HubSpot to try and move it all the way through to a full paying customer. Hope that makes sense, and hopefully we see you guys on the webinar in a couple of weeks' time. But thank you very much for today, Emma.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And thanks very much for joining, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.